Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to dominate your career, then you are in the right place. This podcast is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, ex-Googler, diversity expert, and senior corporate leader. From inspiring stories to cutting-edge strategies, you'll learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and tool set to get future-ready fast and accelerate your success. Welcome to this week's episode of Beyond Barriers Habits and Hacks Show. I'm Monica.
And I'm Nikki.
And this week, we're going to be discussing clarity and what it means to actually have clarity. Here at Beyond Barriers, we define clarity as discovering your purpose and defining your path, because clarity is the key to success and the source of courage and confidence. We're going to break it down into 5 essential elements and then go a little deeper.
Here are the 5 essential elements. If you want to assess whether you have the clarity you need to succeed in your career, ask yourself these 5 questions. Number 1, I have clarity on what I'm passionate about and enjoy doing. Number 2, I have clarity on my unique skills, strengths, and competencies. Number 3, I have clarity on which of those competencies are highly valued in the market. Number 4, I have clarity on what I want to be known for in the world. And number 5, I have clarity on how to accelerate what I want to be known for.
Awesome. Now we're going to break these down into bite-sized segments for you to walk away and understand how to answer each one of these questions. So Nikki, when we talk about I have clarity on what I'm passionate about and what I enjoy doing, what exactly do we mean by that? How can the audience answer this question for themselves?
What we're talking about here is really gaining clarity on what drives you, what inspires you, what elevates you. Because when you find that special something, you're able to find the work that is truly fulfilling. And when it's fulfilling, you're going to keep doing more of it. And that's how you sustain momentum. And when you're able to sustain momentum and keep doing the same thing really well, better and better over time, that's how you become successful in your career. On the flip side, if you lack that passion and you end up doing work because you're doing it for a paycheck, or you're doing it because you didn't think harder about what you should really be focused on, eventually you're going to find that work unfulfilling and it won't help you succeed in your career. So gaining clarity on your passion and what you enjoy doing really comes down to discovering what that special something is that just absolutely makes you want to jump out of bed, kick off your Monday and say, thank God it's Monday and I get to do what I love. And you would do it even if you weren't getting paid for it.
Right.
Now, one key thing, though, is that that's very different from a hobby. Don't confuse your passions with your hobby.
Right.
For instance, I love cooking, but I don't want to be a chef. There's no way I could spend 10 hours in a professional kitchen, serving out meals for hundreds of people every week.
Right.
So that would not be fun for me.
Right.
So cooking is a great hobby that I enjoy, but it's not what I want to do for a living. And that's kind of how you want to discover what is it that you're passionate about that you actually want to do for a living, and you actually enjoy the idea of doing it for 8 to 10 hours every day, and do it for long periods of time over the course of your life.
Amazing. So getting focusing on what it is that you love to do, what you're passionate about, and that you're not going to get exhausted on doing 8 to 10 hours a day. So what is one hack that our audience can do to kind of help them narrow what that is? Because I know I have tons of things I love and enjoy doing, but what is it that I can do to kind of help narrow down what is actually going to, like you said, give me a paycheck?
Most of us have a lot of interests and passions and hobbies. The key here is to figure out what it is that sets you apart and will make you great at it when you practice it like a vocation. One hack is to look at who are your heroes. If you identify your top 10 heroes, oftentimes the heroes that we look up to are the people that we admire and want to be like, because of what they stand for, because of what they've accomplished, the values that they uphold, or perhaps the achievements that they've had. If you look at your top 10 heroes and think about what makes them heroic, is there a certain quality? Are they all entrepreneurs? Are they all great leaders? Are they pioneers? Are they people that are amazing authors? Or maybe they are phenomenal marketers? Look at your heroes and think about what is it about them that you find heroic, and then compare that against the skills or the passions that you have, and consider what might be heroic about you similar to your heroes.
I love that. And that's an easy hack where you just make a list, top 10 heroes, and then write down their attributes, characteristics, habits that they do, and then emulate those and practice them, and you're on your way.
Or find out something about them that drives you to be heroic, just like your leaders. So maybe all of your heroes are all influencers, or they're amazing public speakers. Is that a quality that you want to emulate, or perhaps already have and just need to get better and better at? And you can imagine having that lifestyle where you're traveling around the world and you're a speaker just like them, and you are an influencer. That is giving you an indication of something that you admire in your role models and your heroes that you would admire in yourself, and have the passion and excitement to be able to practice that craft and to become the best at it.
Well, there you have it. You have your homework for the first question on, I have clarity on what I'm passionate about and what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So essential element number 1, check. Now let's move on to essential element number 2 on, I have clarity on my unique strengths, skills, and competencies. Break that down for us a little bit. What exactly does that mean?
So what this really means is figuring out the thing that differentiates you from everybody else. All of us have a lot of different experiences and skills and lots of things that we may enjoy doing. There's usually just that one thing that we can be the best at. And that's what this is really talking about. If you are the jack of all trades, you're the master of none.
Right. Yes.
So what this is really getting at is identify the one thing that not only do you enjoy, but you are actually highly skilled at. Oftentimes that could also be the result of experience. When you do something for a long period of time, you become more competent at it. It doesn't have to be something that is a life mission or greatest passion of yours, but it could simply be a skill that you've honed over long periods of time. And so that unique competency is the thing that people come to you for. You become the go-to person for solving that particular problem, and it's ultimately effortless for you.
Right.
That's your gift. That's your unique skill and competency.
Awesome. So what I understand is that you really kind of hone in on those things that come easy to you. And then you hone those skills, sharpen those skills, and you become the go-to, which I think is a really good kind of moniker to think about. When are you the go-to person for X, Y, or Z? That is your unique skill, and it differentiates you. That's awesome. So what is the one maybe habit or hack that our listeners can do in terms of identifying what is that unique skill or competency that they have, or maybe one that they want to develop?
So a great way to figure out, or perhaps even validate, your unique skill or competency is to ask your colleagues or peers for feedback. Ask them what they consider you an expert on. Also, another thing you could do is look at past successes. What has been the one thing that allowed you to be successful in the past? And then once you evaluate against what your colleagues think you're great at, what has made you successful in the past, and also consider what comes effortlessly to you. What is it that's just so easy? Maybe because you've done it for so long. Maybe it's because it's a natural sort of talent of yours. When you consider all of those elements, you'll be able to identify that particular unique skill or competency, or perhaps even get validation to say, yes, I thought that's what I'm great at, and now I know for sure.
I love that. I love the power of asking for feedback, and how others perceive you as, what are you the go-to for? And, I love the idea of thinking, it's one of those validations of, I thought I was good at X and this is what everybody came to me for, but it looks like everybody comes to me for this, or this is what they see me as an expert in. I love that.
And it might be an interesting way to also reconcile If there's a difference between what you think your skill is, what comes effortlessly to you, and yet nobody else perceives you that way, it might be a wake-up call to perhaps hone that skill. It doesn't mean that's not your skill. It just may mean that you're not the best at it. And so you're yet to become the go-to person, and you're yet to be seen as an expert in it.
So there's a little bit of amplifying that visibility, or a little bit of self-promotion of, hey, I'm really good at this. You should tap me for this.
Or simply continuing to hone your skill even further.
So then the third essential element is actually kind of tied to number 2, where you identify your skill sets and your competencies. But then the next question asking yourself is, which of your competencies is actually highly valued? Describe that a little more.
So the reason we want to figure out which of your competencies are highly valued is because the market is constantly shifting. And what is in demand today may not be in demand tomorrow. In fact, the nature of the problems that require solving, the skills might be shifting. We're seeing a lot of that shift happening right now, where because of technology and automation, there's entirely new skills in demand. And so you may be an expert at something today, or perhaps for the last decade, and yet that expertise may no longer be that much in demand in the future. So it's really important to constantly look at where the market is headed and make sure that your skills are actually aligned with that. And perhaps even consider whether there's skills that you have that will come more in demand.
Right.
Effectively, that means that we all have to learn to run 2 races. You have to be great at what you're doing today, while learning how to be great at what you will need to do tomorrow.
I love that. I love the concept of learning to run 2 races, because you're having to focus on continuing to excel at what you're doing, but forecasting and looking forward or looking around the bend. Say you are running a certain race and you're like, okay, what's coming around the corner? Be prepared for whatever it may be, so that you can take that obstacle in stride and just kind of adjust to whatever comes your way.
Yeah, a good example maybe, let's say you're a good marketer. You understand marketing, you know how to help your clients come up with great marketing campaigns. But if you haven't tapped into the newest platforms or the newest technologies, your marketing skill might be outdated. So you really have to figure out how you not only hone your unique skill, but keep adapting to shifts in the marketplace, and then really be ahead of that change so you can keep developing that competency even more before you get disrupted and displaced.
Awesome. So how does one stay ahead of the game? Like, maybe what is one habit or hack someone can start practicing? Is we understand forecasting, but how do you forecast?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the key here is to have a pulse on where your particular industry or craft is headed. You have to know where the demand is shifting, not where the demand is, but where it's headed. It's kind of like, knowing where the puck is and where it's headed will allow you to then map your skills against that demand. So take a look at what the top trends are in your industry or related to your particular craft. Map out your skills and consider, well, how does that map against that? Is that still going to be in demand 5 years, 10 years from now? Is there one particular skill that I need to build up more than the others? And then identify is there a shift that's happening? Is there something you need to double down on, or is there something you need to replace? Is there something you need to perhaps evolve in some way? But being able to forecast and get ahead of industry change will make sure that you're actually a leader and not a follower. And that allows you to then be that well-renowned expert that, people come out, are looking up to and is being more successful in their career.
I love that. So the key to essential element number 3 is to make sure that you are staying ahead of the game. And in order to stay ahead of the game, you have to keep up with what's going on in the industry and hear about all of the things that are coming around the bend so that you're prepared for them and you can just excel in the race that you continue to run.
Yeah. And this may not be just about the industry. This could even be, how's your career evolving, so maybe you're at a certain level. Have you thought about what's at the next level that is valued even more? So how do you keep aligning your skill level and, which of those are the most valued at the next level. So the things that we do, say, at the entry level are not the same things that are valued at the mid-level or the things that are valued at the senior-most level. So you want to keep an eye, towards the future and keep aligning, be one step ahead of that change, be one step ahead of what the demand is.
Okay, so moving on. Essential element number 4. I have clarity on what I want to be known for. Break that down for us a little bit. What does that mean?
So what that's referring to is really the previous 3 elements. If you think about it, you want to figure out what you're passionate about, what you're uniquely qualified to do because you have the right experience, the skills, the competencies. And now you've also identified what is valued in the marketplace. So if you consider those 3, what does that tell you in terms of your sweet spot? It's really about identifying that sweet spot, that niche that you want to dominate, that not only is aligned with your passions and your purpose, but also leads to your paycheck. So
that's important.
That really comes down to getting clarity on, what is it that you want to build, really your reputation and your personal brand around. What are you the expert on that has the skills, has the passion, and really stands out and differentiated from everyone else?
So what do you suggest our audience should do so that they can identify what they want to be known for?
So if you want to find out what you want to be known for, if you want to gain more clarity in that, here's what I'd recommend. First off, define a specific market segment or audience that you want to focus on. Typically, this is a group of people that you feel a personal connection to in some way. You can relate to them. Maybe they're like you, or they are facing circumstances or challenges that you can relate to. Number 2, once you identify that audience or market segment, identify what their biggest challenges are. And then number 3, express specifically how you are uniquely qualified to solve those challenges.
And finally, the essential element number 5. Okay. I have clarity on how I want to accelerate what I want to be known for. What do we mean by that? And describe that a little bit.
What I mean by that is, if you know what you want to be known for, are you doing all the right sets of things that help you keep getting better and better at that and become more successful at it faster?
Right.
It's not enough to simply know the right answer, but you have to align everything you're doing to it. You have to keep taking on new challenges. You have to get new experiences in that, because everything is constantly shifting. The industry is shifting. The market is evolving. Even you yourself are changing and gaining more experience. So you want to make sure that you're constantly accelerating what you want to be known for by aligning all the things that you're focused on perfectly to that North Star.
So you talk a little bit about aligning that to the North Star. What's a habit, or what's a hack that our audience can use to identify or maybe calibrate that alignment?
Yeah, that's a great point, because you want to assess what you're doing today and how does that map to that North Star. Are you in the right industry? Are you in the right career? Are you in the right job?
Right. Or
are you in the right role? Maybe it's the right industry, the right career, the right job, or the right company, but maybe you need a slightly different role. Or perhaps you simply need to take on additional projects. So good exercise or questions to ask yourself are, assess what you're doing and how that maps to what you want to be known for. Evaluate if there's any gaps there. Is there more experience needed? Maybe it's you're taking the slower route when you could take a faster route.
Right.
Maybe you could take on a bigger project, a bigger responsibility, or maybe you just need to switch out of the industry altogether, and it would help you get to your North Star a lot faster. So you want to assess where you're at, figure out how it aligns. Is there a gap, or is it perfectly aligned? And if there's any gaps, what do you need to do that'll help you get there faster?
That's excellent advice. So there you have it. The 5 essential elements to help you gain clarity and accelerate your success. Thanks for listening. There are thousands of podcasts out there, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to listen to ours. Visit IamBeyondBarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources referenced in this episode. And be sure to take the quiz on the website. Your score will tell you where you are, what helps you gain momentum, and what holds you back. You'll also get a free guide with cutting-edge career strategies. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your comments and topic suggestions on IamBeyondBarriers.com. and we'll be sure to address them in future episodes. If you enjoyed our show today, please subscribe and rate the podcast, or just tell a friend about it. See you next episode.